Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Thursday, November the 17th, 2022. Thursday, November the 17th. Well, we have Allie. She finds Noah at the coffee house and he says, "Hey, how are you?" And she looked at him, she goes, I forget what she says, like confused or concerned or something. And he's like, "Oh, really? How's your day going?" And she was like, "Surprising," or whatever she says. And he goes, "Well, why?" So she says, "I came to the club earlier today and I saw you and Audra in a looks like a very personal and intense situation. You were hugging her. She was in your arms." And he goes, "Oh, sorry you saw that." She goes, "What's going on?" He goes, "Let's not talk about it here." He takes her back to his club and he tells her the whole story. Good for Noah. Told her the whole story, what Audra told him. And Allie was understanding and said, "Oh no, that's a shame. She lost her child. She was by herself and blah, blah, blah." And Noah said, "Yeah." And he just had mixed emotions, as to, what possibly his life, well, the possibilities of possibly have been a father, you know. And so Aunt Allie says, "So if she hadn't lost the baby, you know, do you feel you would still be with her? Do you wonder what your life would have been like with you as a family?" You know? And Noah told her, "No, because our relationship was toxic and I left it for a reason." He's like, "I don't know." And of course, she says she had the miscarriage because the night he left her. Convenient. Um, Allie, if he no, no, Allie could have come at it a different way. Probably the way I would have come at it, more in disbelief, which I would have made the whole situation a little like, that was convenient of her, right? The night you didn't come home is the night that she miscarried. In other words, she's trying to put some guilt onto him. Had you not left like that night, I probably wouldn't have been worried and I probably would not have lost our child. See, that's how I see her telling him, "That's the night it happened." No. Me personally, I don't believe it. But Allie was very supportive of him. And he said that no, I mean, bottom line, it does not change how he feels about Audra today. He's like, because there was we did not work, you know? So I'm happy he's saying that. And I hope that's how Noah truly feels about that. Because he and Allie kiss, and then he and Allie are hugging. And guess who has to waltz right back into the club? But Audra. See, no, no. 2 times in one day? No. And Noah, as he's hugging Allie, he looks up and there Audra is. He's looking at her as he's hugging Allie. And she just kind of looks down a bit and just walks away, walks back out. See, no, the same boundaries and the same rules would apply when Noah talks to her. It should be, look, I'm sorry you went through what you went through alone, but we don't exist. You don't need to come in here every day to try to remind me of what we had, because I remember what toxic we had. She is just ridiculous. Has nothing to do, you can tell, but to continually go where Noah's at. And that's the type of person she is. When Noah walked out, it's like she said, "I found out you moved in with your friend." She'd have been over there, wouldn't she? That's the kind of person she is. So no, no, Noah still needs to put some distance between her and let her know, no, we cannot be friends now. Period. You told me what you needed to tell me. You knew, yes, because she goes, I just need to know. I went through all of that, that we mattered. Okay, we mattered before we didn't matter. Because there came a time when we did not matter. And that's been years now. So no, no. He needs to still nip Audra in the bud because Audra is not through. Audra's next is going to come after Allie. Audra's going to start talking about Noah and I have an unbreakable bond. We shared, we were going to have a child together. And Allie needs to let her know, sorry for your loss, but the operative word was you were going to have a child together. You didn't have that child together. And he is my boyfriend. So yeah, there we go. Allie, right? So Sharon helps Chelsea move some of her stuff in, put her clothes away, unpack a bit. Because she and Billy brought Chelsea's things from the Grand Phoenix. They went and emptied out all her stuff and had them charge the card on file for her final bill. And she thanked them for bringing her items. And Billy needed to go because Lily texted him that she was free because he asked her earlier, let him know when she'd be free. And so he met her at Chancellor Park and Sharon stayed with Chelsea. So he actually sat Lily down and he told her, but he didn't say exactly that Chelsea was going to kill her, that he was the one who stopped her from killing herself. She figured that out towards the end of their conversation because she's like, well, I'm happy you were there while Chelsea was in crisis, And then she goes, but why couldn't you tell me, what happened after it happened? And he said, because it wasn't my story to tell. And she's still, we're still dealing with it. Now that she's had her counseling and, she's going to tell Connor. She just told Adam today, she's going to tell Connor. And she insisted that I tell you. And I'm thinking, he kept saying Chelsea insisted. So if Chelsea hadn't of insisted, Billy never would have told Lily. But I mean, goodness, at some point, where you spending your time, where you spending your days. And Lily was a little abrupt, put off with it, because you are spending all your time there, with somebody else until she found out the gravity of it. And she's like, oh my God. So then she goes, wait, Billy. So this happened on Halloween night and it took her back to wait. And because he told her, I found her up on the roof of the Grand Phoenix, the rooftop access. And Lily's like, so you literally saved her life. That's big, And he said, that's why I'm committed to seeing it through. But see, the whole thing with Billy and Chelsea is watch. Chelsea's going to develop a situation to where she needs Billy. Like, see, it became a situation where she needed Ray. She needed Ray. So if they're not going to do it that way, what they're going to do is Chelsea's going to be in the park and Chance is going to walk by. And Chelsea and Chance are going to start talking. Chelsea and Chance are going to build a friendship. And Chelsea and Chance are going to sleep together. If they decide not to make Billy and Chelsea sleep together, it's going to be Chelsea and Chance. That's exactly what it's going to be, or who it's going to be. Because Chance is hurt. Chance is fumbling. Chelsea is not Abby. But here's the thing. Chelsea, emotionally, I don't know that she's ready for a relationship. But the thing about Chelsea is she's never wanted a person for her ideal, some kind of ideal relationship. She truly loved Adam for Adam. It's just Chelsea and Adam were toxic for each other. Who was really good for Chelsea, believe it or not, when Chelsea and Nick were together, when Adam was supposed to be presumed dead from dying in that cabin fire, Chelsea and Nick were very good together, raising both of those boys, Connor and Christian. Very good together, Chelsea and Nick. I mean, and they were even compatible more than Sally and Nick. Even just they had a scene. Sally and Nick were meeting up for dinner at Society. Of course, ran into Adam, and Adam did have some snarky comments to say. But even their conversation, who wants to watch them? The way they look at each other, oh my goodness, it's horrible. I don't get the writing with that, right? So Chelsea texts Adam and lets Adam know, texts him he's still at Society. And he walks outside and she goes, I would like you to pick up Connor from soccer practice. I mean, after soccer practice, can you bring him to me? I really want to tell him, Adam, it's important, right? And I need you to be, on board with me. I need you to be in, let's do this as a team. Because she goes, the doctor agrees, and her therapist does agree. And her therapist went over ways, to ease into that conversation and the things to say. So it's not like she's going to go off cuff, the way they all just told Johnny she was his mother, and she told Connor. I mean, she's had some professional guidance with it, right? So Adam finally agreed. He says, okay. So he picks up Connor and they go to the coffee house and they run into Sharon, and he tells Connor, go get Chelsea her favorite pastry. And he talks to Sharon and he goes, I'm still a little apprehensive about it, but Sharon says, I'm happy you agreed to it because it is the right thing to do, to tell him, and the doctor, whatever the doctor's name that was Chelsea's therapist, Sharon says she did go over how to tell Connor, how to break the news to him in an age appropriate way. So Adam says, yeah, I know. I'm just worried. About Connor. And so she goes, Chelsea can handle this. She really feels she can handle it. So they go upstairs and Chelsea says the door's open. So they come in and Connor looks at her and he sees her and she's still looking fragile, her teary-eyed a bit. She goes, hi, Connor, how are you? And he's like, fine. And he's just looking because he knows, in his mind, the last things he had said to her were mean things, right? And she goes, I'm so happy to see you. And so she kind of, inviting to him. And he just looks at her and he kind of runs to her and he gives her this really, I mean, it was a really good hug. And when the look on his face, like even here in this picture with his eyes closed, it's like he's hugging his mother. I mean, the little actor did a good job showing the proper emotions for this scene. He really did a great job. And so Chelsea was also, just realizing, I'm going to tell him this is who I'm living for. I'm living for this young man, this boy, this little life, and he is important to me. So Adam was just standing across and he was, looking at the whole situation. And so they're going to sit down probably today because that's going to maybe be our little cliffhanger, is Connor, them telling him sensitively and everything. I really don't think they're going to have him react really badly to it. I think they're going to do an overall, because they're trying to do this in an inspiring way, which is why they made sure we understood the therapist went over points to talk to, for how she can do this and do it in the way that he can handle it the most. So that's really good. And I'm glad they're not at no stinking park, even though he may not feel comfortable because this is a brand new place, but that is his mother and his father's here. And they're private. It's private between his little family. So that should be really, really well. I was happy with that interaction and that exchange. And so we'll see, with the Lily and Billy thing is Lily is still being supportive, and she's happy now she knows the true facts. as to what's going on. But Lily has a lot on her shoulders right now. She really is, because Devon isn't really helping at all. He's dealing with his personal issues, self-inflicted, right? And Lily is just the stress that you could see it on her face. She's trying to be supportive to everybody, but who's being supportive of Lily right now? Nobody. Nobody. So I don't know. I'm kind of worried about Lily. So let's go to Comic Corner. Comic Corner. Gloria says, I think that Billy is trying to hurt Adam. Chelsea, I don't like him because of how he's doing Lily. Oh, she doesn't like Billy as to how he's doing Lily, because what goes around comes around. I hope he doesn't sleep with Chelsea. They may decide to go that route. Carrie Judge said the tack house wouldn't have been good enough for Adam. Because I'm like, why didn't he move to the tack house? Just like Newman Media wasn't good enough. Being the CEO of Newman Media wasn't good enough for him to be CEO of Newman Enterprises. That is definitely true. And then Libby says Lola was Ray's sister's name. I could not think of that name. Do you know what, Libby? At 3 a.m, I was laying in my bed and I said, Lola. You know how when you task your brain with a problem to solve, your brain continues, that subconscious continues to work on it, right? And at 3 a.m, the name Lola came to mind. So yes, Lola, that was his sister. And then says big problem with the therapist not including Adam in Chelsea's therapy, especially about telling Connor. I believe I can understand in the overall one-to-one exit assessment, but while Billy was there, not Billy, Adam was there, and he had concerns, the doctor should have said, you know what? Can I talk to both of you about how to tell your son before our private exit session, Chelsea? And that would have worked, but I guess ultimately the doctor's patient was Chelsea. But, anyway, yeah, I just thought that as a whole, it should have Adam, because he's the one with apprehensions on telling Connor. The therapist could have given some light to why it's a good idea, so he would have felt more comfortable. And then the whole 72 hours on her way to being better was almost as unrealistic as Faith's overnight kidney transplant. Well, 72 holds are just 72 holds. They are just for observation to see if they're still going to be a danger to themselves or others. And most are released after a 72-hour hold with some type of outpatient plan, outpatient treatment plan. So that's really the way it goes. If they still after 72 hours are not, still might be a danger to themselves or others, that's when they're kept. And what's with Billy acting like he's the one that arranged Chelsea to stay at Sharon's? He's getting really obnoxious. Billy's just, I don't know. He feels this is something he can control, I guess. So let's make a deal, Daily Recap Lady. If they take Connor to the park and tell him about Chelsea's episode, we're going to rename it Park of Uncomfortable Meetups. Exactly. One more thing. Has anyone ever counted the many places there are to live in Genoa City? Got a couple of hotels, couple of houses, couple of mansions, to be about it. That's true. And let's not forget a tack house. We got a tack house. Dito says, how stupid, the whole stupid storyline with Tessa and Mariah moving into the tech house on the ranch. I know. Since when? Victor didn't treat her like Cassie's twin. Never did. He barely has anything to say to her or Tessa. They didn't even go to their wedding. Nikki or Victor did not go to Mariah and Tessa's wedding at all. As for Chelsea living there, wouldn't you think it would upset her to know that she's living in the same apartment that Ray lived in with his sister? Well, remember, Chelsea wasn't even around at that time. Well, was she? She may have been, now that I think about it. I don't remember if Chelsea was around back when Ray lived there with Lila. With Lola. I don't know. And then remember, Ray lived there with his wife, actually, before he found out she cheated on Arturo. I think it would upset me. LOL, you forgot to mention Nate's old house that he had with Lily. Lily was Lily and Kane's house. And about the house Nick had for summer. Or are we talking about the big mansion Nick lives in now? Yeah, Nick lives in that big house. Who's living there? Nick, if you're talking about, I don't remember a house Nick had for summer. Are you talking about Summer's penthouse? Was not a penthouse. Summer's townhome that she lived in, that then Phyllis lived in when Summer went away. The one that now Billy and Lily live next door. That's the one I was talking about. That townhome. Who's living there? Is Abby going to move out of the mansion now that she and Chance are not going to be together? Or maybe she'll move into the Abbott Hotel. There's no Abbott Hotel. That place is going to be, oh, you mean the Abbott House, the Abbott Hotel. That place is going to be crowded. LOL. Waving hi to sister friend. Now remember, Abby has a house. She just hasn't lived in it since when she left her house and went to the Chancellor house. The house, the Carlton house. Brad Carlton left her house to Abby and Ashley, really Abby. And so that Abby still has her house. For a while, when Ashley would come to town, Ashley would stay at Abby's house. Abby just moved into the Chancellor mansion when she married Chance. So maybe she'll go back to her house. And then Monique says, that conversation Adam and Chelsea's going to have with Connor is going to be tough. It is going to be a tough one. How honest will Adam and Chelsea be with Connor and telling him the whole truth or half the truth? Well, remember, the psychologist gave Chelsea some age-appropriate ways to tell him. So it's going to be, they're going to tell him as much as they can for a child that his level should know. I'm sure she's not going to say, and I was standing on the edge of that roof ready to jump right off. Billy Abbott got up there and I looked at Billy and I told Billy to tell you that I slipped. They're not going to tell him all that. It'll just be how she probably got in such a dark place that she saw no way out and she considered just not wanting to live anymore. Something like that. We'll see. Let's see if they make us privy to the conversation tomorrow that Adam and Chelsea are going to have with Connor. They may or they may pick up after they've told him, because I think that is truly a topic that they, if a psychologist worked with you, they may be mindful that this is a real life topic and other psychologists are probably working with other real life people with this problem. So they may not want us to hear that conversation, because that can happen in many different ways for many different people and in their situation. So we'll see. We'll see how they choose to handle it tomorrow. But that is it, everyone, for Thursday, November the 17th issue of the daily recap of The Young and the Restless.